Chapter 104, The Real Eye Behind All This. The next day, Li Chao led his 4 men and the guys from the tax bureau directly to the largest casino under Westgate. "Excuse me, we are Team 2 from the Criminal Investigation Department. We need you to cooperate with us and show us your accounts from the past year." The manager of the casino stared at Li Chao with a sullen look, and then after seeing the ID of the tax bureau, he said, "Why is the Criminal Investigation Unit here?" "Li Chao, someone reported that you guys are involved with underground gambling houses and money laundering cases. Please cooperate." The manager then snorted with an irritated tone. "You can investigate if you want, but we won't just cooperate with whatever pawn or lackey that's sent to investigate us. Please show us the search warrant from your HQ. Our casino has strict management rules and legal management rights. We can file a complaint if we are harassed with baseless search requests." It was clear that this manager had seen a lot of scenes before, and he was completely not yielding to an officer of Li Chao's level. Li Chao took out the search warrant issued by the HQ and said, "I'm telling you, I'm not just searching this casino, but all 5 under Westgate." He was just stating to the manager's face that they were directly coming for Westgate. After the manager saw the documents, he stared at Li Chao and said, "I remember it's not your team's business to handle the money laundering case." Li Chao lifted his eyebrows and replied, "And it's not your business who's responsible for handling the case, right? You can just tell me, do you have any eyes in our police station?" The manager awkwardly laughed, "Haha, how's that possible? Li Chao, take me to your finance office. I know you are trying to delay us so your accountants can make adjustments to the books." The manager's eyelids jumped, and then he moved out of the way to let Li Chao and the others in. Thank God it was daytime and there weren't too many patrons at the casino, so the influence wasn't as bad. At the same time, Wu Gang also found where the 5 legal representatives of the 5 casinos lived and started tailing them. As instructed by Su Cheng, they didn't try very hard to hide themselves. Just halfway through the day, their files were already on the table of a luxurious mansion. Inside the luxurious mansion, there was a pile of documents with information on all of Team 2's members on a red wooden table. A middle-aged man smoking with his legs crossed puffed out some smoke and narrowed his eyes. He asked the 2 bodyguards by his side, "Did you get the information? Who's the captain of Team 2? The bodyguard said, "We are no strangers to this guy, he's the Tiger police officer that killed Gate Master Yan." The middle-aged man lifted his brows. "Him?" Immediately after, he sneered, "Even he deserves to be called a Tiger police officer? It's just those people from the Black Society trying to mock us 4 Gates by giving him that title." To be frank, Gate Master Yan had been long past his prime. But what are the police thinking? They think that we can be easily bullied so they sent that guy after us too? They really think we wouldn't fight back? The bodyguard smiled. "Master Sin, I already searched around, and I think having Team 2 taking over the case wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. According to our sources, the team that's responsible for our case this time only has about 10 people, and just by looking at the 5 officers following our legal guys, we can see that their techniques are as bad as new recruits. It's just impossible for amateurs like them to be able to dig anything up. I think it's good to just let Team 2 do its job, since Team 5 from before was harder to trick and hide from." The middle-aged man named Master Sin heard this and nodded. "Very well. Call the other 4 legal representatives and tell them to act natural these days. Also, have our guys track those officers as well to see what they are up to. Those guys at the police HQ are really funny, they really think our Westgate will be as easy to handle as Northgate." "Bodyguard, then, Master Sin, should we still go and talk about business with the other masters like usual?" "Master Qin, of course, why wouldn't we? We will just do what we do, and as long as those 5 officers are under our eyes, we have nothing to worry about. They are in the light, and we are in the dark. What are you scared about? Let's go and find the other masters now." The bodyguard nodded, and then the 2 followed Master Sin and left their mansion. Shortly after, the 5 legal representatives also left their mansions. The moment they left, Wu Gang and the other 4 guys all began reporting to Su Cheng. But, they didn't notice that they had also been followed. All of their actions were reported by the members of Westgate back to the legal representative they were each following. On a Mercedes, Master Sin put down his phone and said to one of his bodyguards, "Just let them follow, and at critical moments or when they are about to get too deep, immediately interrupt them and stop them from following. Just keep them on the hook like that." The Mercedes drove towards a luxury neighborhood on a mountain top, and Wu Gang casually followed. When they got to an intersection, 2 bodyguards of Westgate pretended that their car had broken down by the roadside, and they immediately waved Wu Gang down. "Hey brother, can you lend me a hand and tow my car?" They got directly in front of Wu Gang's car so that he couldn't drive past them and could only impatiently yell at them, "Can't you guys call the towing company yourself?" And then when he drove around them to try to catch up, that Mercedes was already nowhere to be seen. The Mercedes deliberately exited the mountain-top neighborhood from another path and drove back towards the city. At the intersection, Wu Gang lost his target, so he immediately reported to Su Cheng, "Boss, I suspect that they are going to the neighborhood at the top of the mountain." Su Cheng was silent. He and his car were both at the feet of the mountain, and from afar, he had already locked onto Master Sin's car. Master Sin could escape Wu Gang's tracking, but he couldn't hide from Su Cheng's eyes. That's right, Su Cheng didn't need Wu Gang and the others to do too much. They just needed to provide a general update as to where the target was, and Su Cheng could use his vision to lock onto the target. As to why Su Cheng wanted his men to be exposed while following their targets, it was to protect them. As long as they posed no threat to the slippery Westgate bosses, Westgate wouldn't do anything to them. Master Sin and the others didn't know that after they got rid of Wu Gang and drove down from the other side of the mountain, they drove past a really ordinary-looking car. After they drove past Su Cheng, he started the car and began following them 1 block behind. Whether it was Master Sin or his bodyguards, no one would think that a car could be following them at about a 3-kilometer radius. The mountaintop neighborhood was just a decoy for Wu Gang and the others, and the police would spend a lot of attention on that mountain for at least a couple of days or even weeks until they realized their targets weren't on that mountain. When Wu Gang drove up the mountain, he said to Su Cheng, "Boss, do you want me to go into the neighborhood to take a look? I have a feeling that their legal representatives are all gathering here to meet the 4 biggest bosses behind Westgate." Su Cheng smiled and replied, "No need. Just go to the Sin mansion and stand by there when he gets back. The mountaintop is just a decoy. You can tell the other guys that tailed their targets here to also go back to their target's mansion."